Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Daniel Ackerman. I'm a realtor in New York. I'm your Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn real estate specialist. And this is the Monday market update. So we're going to go over some of the key headlines in the real estate news for this week, as well as a couple of market updates regarding interest rates and things like that. So let's jump into it. First of all, average interest rates. Let's talk about the interest rates. The average interest rates have been rising slightly every week since probably the end of last year, and they rose slightly again. So the average interest rate for the 30-year fixed loan is now hovering around 3.19% APR. All right. Now on the 15-year fixed, the interest rate is around 2.6, and for those of you who maybe are not going to be living in your forever home, are not buying a home to live in for the next 25 to 30 years, maybe you're only going to be there for the next 5 years, then you might want to look at the adjustable rate mortgages, because currently the 5/1 ARM, which means it has one increase after the first 5 years, is locked in at 2.5%. So if you really want to save on your monthlies, then maybe the 5-year adjustable rate mortgage is the way to go, because that's at 2.5%. Now these are all this news is courtesy of themortgagerate.com. I definitely recommend you check out that website. And they give updates on interest rates as well as recommendations on locking your rate. Right now, the recommendation for locking your rate is that if you are closing anytime within the next 60 days, to go ahead and lock the rate in. The reason being is that they anticipate that rates will just continue to go up incrementally. So if you want to lock in the lowest rate, now is the time to do it, and you're safe doing so as long as you're closing within the next 60 days or so. Now let's look at some of the top headlines in real estate news. So Manhattan is reopening high schools on the 22nd of this month, so just a couple of weeks from today, and that could be good news, could be bad news. Let's see what happens, but that is definitely a development in the Manhattan world. Another couple of things to take a look at here. Landlords have been taking their units off the market. This is interesting because actually in the rental market, there's actually been a massive amount of new leases, because now is probably the best opportunity in years for renters to get decreased rents. Rents are down something like 20% in Manhattan, and so there's a massive amount of lease activity from people flooding in trying to get bargains and lock those in for the next several years. But looks like maybe landlords don't want to get locked into these lower rents, and some of them are actually taking their units off the market. So it remains to be seen how that will affect landlords, and how they're keeping up with their mortgages, as well as the rental market. And here's an interesting one. Underwater hotel owners, and about 25% of the mortgages in the hotel sector in Manhattan are currently behind or underwater, for a total of about 25 billion in mortgages that are at risk right now. And a lot of hotel owners are simply walking away. I guess that means that they're taking foreclosures on these huge hotel loans because they don't see a way to get back on top, with the pandemic having continued effects on the travel sector and on hotels and hospitality. I guess they're not seeing a way to get caught up on their mortgages, and so some of them are simply walking into foreclosure, it appears. Now let's look at Brooklyn. Here's a fun one. So the townhouse from Moonstruck, the famous movie Moonstruck. I don't know if you all remember that. I'm old enough to remember it. That's a famous Cher movie with Nicolas Cage. The townhouse from that just went on the market in Brooklyn for $12.9 million. It's in Brooklyn Heights. It's a corner townhouse, 4 floors. It's been completely renovated, and they did a historic renovation. I believe that's in a historic district. So they went with period correct windows, period correct interiors. They redid the brownstone on the outside. You can look it up, but that is now on the market for $12.9 million. So if you've got an extra $13 million lying around, you might want to check out that listing. For the rest of us who are more in realistic conditions, Brooklyn home prices held steady at just under $800,000 for the last year. There was a ton of activity in Brooklyn. And so the question was, why didn't prices actually increase? And that is because there was such a flood of inventory that it kind of kept track with the flood of activity. And so since those two things tracked together, prices stayed relatively flat at around 800,000 on average. And that's across all sectors, co-op, condo, single family, etc., all averaged together. So that's the news for Brooklyn. And that's about it, guys. So make sure to tune into the channel every week for these Monday updates. And if you like this information, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and get all of our new videos. And give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks so much for watching, and see you again soon.